This is what my pedal board looks like for most gigs these days. Tuner, light overdrive, tremolo. But here's all the pedals that live on the bench and get called up to the plate depending on what video I'm shooting or what gig I'm playing. Today we're going to go through the ways that pedals usually get organized on a pedal board, but also know that sometimes you can get some really interesting results by doing things the wrong way. Hey, I'm Eric Haugen. Check the description box below for information about the sound tools I'm using today, live streams and more on Patreon, and my courses. It's all on my website. Some pedals really like to go first. I guess it has something to do with their input impedance, so I consider the first category of pedals the special campers, the ones that don't play well with others. We have wah, fuzzes, and compression. For whatever reason, these tend to want to go first. I guess it has something to do with the way they take the input signal. If they're getting something that's already overdriven, it might sound not so great. And yeah, I stuck the volume pedal up front just because that's really useful for stuff like that, doing swells. But of course, yeah, let's see, let's leave that all the way up. Let's get the wah going. That's a fun thing. Oh, wait. Now, wah does come alive if you combine it with fuzz, but yeah, noise. Check it out. So what if I switch them? The other one to discuss is the jangle box, which usually I would use it on a 12 string because it's basically a high pass filter. Really cool thing to thin out otherwise dark guitar. This guitar is not particularly dark, so it doesn't really work as well. Next up, we have modulation. And remember, like I said earlier, interesting things can happen if you do things not the right way. Let's find out. Here we've got phaser. And I could use either of these for chorus, and I could use either of those for flange. Phaser, this one definitely lives on my board more often than not. Just for comparison, let's go over to the chroma console. This pedal is so power hungry. It's one of the reasons it doesn't live on my board. 500 milliamp? No, yeah, requirement. So to get the different sounds within the movement section, let's see. Its phaser is green. Let's see what its phaser sounds like. Oh, so turn it on. Seems like too much. Let's slow that rate down. I like the analog more. Now, chorus, let's see, we could use the Strymon Deco for chorus. Let's bring the wobble down. Don't really love the chorus sound on that. Now, flange. Let's see, I think if you bring this all the way down, that's flange. Like an effect I never actually use, but yeah. I'll have to do a video about Roger Fisher from 70s Heart. He's another really cool player that doesn't get talked about that much. I guess for science, let's go ahead and check the flange setting on the chroma console. Yeah, that is what color does it have? Wait, does it have flange? No. Never mind. I thought it had flange on there. It doesn't. I have a love-hate relationship with overdrive pedals. Like, really, my favorite sound is a tube amp running on, somewhere between 7 and 10. And, I'd like to not be in the room with it while it's doing that. Second favorite tone is running it through an attenuator. There's pros and cons to doing that. And the third favorite is, a good overdrive pedal. These are good overdrive pedals, but, they're always a little bit harsh. There's always a little bit of harshness to an overdrive pedal, but it's convenient. Having said that, I do keep these pedals around because they work the best for me. In no particular order, here's the Boss OD3. Like, this one has a lot of gain on tap. You can see I got the drive pretty low on it. And then, I've used the Strymon, this original version of the Deco, for probably a decade. And then, the Greer Lightspeed, he's a little thinner and a little brighter, but he's still useful depending on what guitar. I love Fuzz because it's so primitive and wild, and yeah, you have to respect it, and yeah, you can't use it all the time. You can see I brought back the modded Fuzz face here, so we compare the germanium fuzz of, that, and I forget, some kind of new old stock transistor in there, to the silicon transistor, of this awesome octave fuzz. Notice I leave the fuzz all the way up. You can roll the volume back. To get less fuzz, that works really well on germanium fuzz faces. Let's just leave it all the way up though. Versus, now this is going to be a lot brighter. I always say this, the thing that makes an octave fuzz cool is that double stop maneuver. Because I don't understand exactly how they work, but yeah, double stop bends, they scream with an octave fuzz. With a regular fuzz, they're cool too. Octave fuzz. I love Fuzz. And then we have our problem solver pedals. This makes things dark, this makes things bright. Let's look at what the Strymon can do for a fuzz. So some folks might stick an EQ pedal kind of after all your overdrives and fuzzes before you hit the ambient effects. I find that the tape compression side of the deco has the effect of kind of smoothing out the top end and kind of fattening things up with, of course, with a octave fuzz. You know, I love that sound, but sometimes by itself that's kind of thin. So this is the only time you'll really see me purposely stack pedals like overdrives. That part doesn't sound like it has fuzz on it, but here it is without it. It's gonna be kind of thin. Specifically that. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's one of my favorite combinations. Those two pedals work together very well. At the end of the chain, we have the pedals that can do ambient stuff. This is generally the order. You can kind of play around with the ambient effects in any sort of order. Generally, delay, then reverb, which is what we'll use that for, the chroma console, and then trem. I like to put after the reverb. You could play around with it. Now, delay, I set it, you know, this is a cool old DM2, nice subtle analog delay. So I'm not like using it like the Edge would, where it's really a prominent thing. I'll use it just to kind of, you can hear it's pretty quiet and pretty slow. That's such a cool chord. Now let's go ahead and bring in, there's the holograms reverb. I find that a little hard to rein in. So I actually don't really use that reverb that much, but it'll do in a pinch. With the delay. That's such a cool change. This like A flat minor, I guess an A flat add 9, down to the F. And then the origin effects. This is an interesting trem. Because it kind of has a little bit of overdrive built into it. Yeah, it's a pedal I'm still playing with, but I find it to be pretty useful. Let's do a flat 2. So some things about my tone on YouTube, I use plugins for reverb, delay, and tremolo. It's just easier for me for mixing and tweaking to do it after the fact. And I really like the Valhalla delay and the Valhalla reverb and the Sound Toys tremolator. Those are all really good sounding plugins. But of course, you know, if you're just a guitar player without Logic, you don't get to play with those. I don't use boost pedals, and I don't like to stack overdrives because, like, I never understand if I'm stacking an overdrive, who's doing what once you're combining chips and EQs. I can't tell, wait, why is it fizzy? I don't know. I'd rather just use one and just dial it in between, even between that and the guitar and the amp. That's already quite a few knobs. Again, this is all personal preference. My dream tone is a recording studio with an ISO booth where the amp can just run wide open and where you can use outboard gear for all the effects. I mean, really, all the tones I like are from kind of the early era of electric guitar, from that kind of, second half of the 60s through the first half of the 70s, pretty much before the era of pedals. So that's always what I'm playing around with. So yeah, I don't actually get very excited about pedals. I have the pedals I have. They work fine. I sort of view them as necessary substitutions for the, sound that I'm actually going for. And the only other thing I want to point out, the reason I keep my board so minimal is one, because tone suck is real. The more pedals you chain together, the more response does sort of get diminished. I've A-B'd it, straight into the amp versus even one or two pedals. It's a different sound. And the other thing is switch failure, jack failure. That stuff is all real. I can look down at my board and know every single one. Like, I know which pedals kind of have squirrely jacks. You're like, oh, come on, quarter inch. Like, you have to jiggle it a little bit. And oh, that one, like, here, yeah, this jack is loose on the Strymon. This power supply here, it doesn't like some plugs. You really have to kind of finagle it. Like every pedal I have, you're like, there's something to, like, even my tuner doesn't like some quarter-inch cables. So like the more pedals you have, the more opportunity for potential embarrassment on the gig you run into. Well, there you have it. So there's a bunch of pedal demos from someone who has a love-hate relationship with pedals. Hey, I keep it real. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. It costs you nothing and helps me out a lot when people do that one more time around how my business works. Patreon is where there's every backing track I've ever made, live Q&A seminars, and more. And I also make courses. You could check it all out on my website. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself. See you next week.